Are we hot?
Hot and sexy.
Are we hot, Rory? We're good? We're live. So today's going to be a super exciting episode as always. We had the one and only Heath Evans on the other day. And how do we follow that up? How do we make that even better? We got the Titan himself.
Holy shnikes, Batman.
Mike O'Hearn.
What is happening, ladies and gentlemen?
This is awesome. Mike and I have gone back and forth forever getting him on and getting him on the podcast to kind of sound off on a few things. But I'm really excited. Mike's been one of those guys that I've watched from afar for a while. You know, obviously the fitness is a huge component, but he does so much with the veterans traveling. He just came back from a huge trip overseas. He was with Jay hanging out. How awesome is that, and how great is it? We were talking about it in the car to go and take trips like that and get to see the soldiers overseas.
Oh, it's number one. Going overseas, first of all, just traveling the world and meeting the Titans out there is one thing. But when you get to enhance it a little bit by stopping by any of the armed forces bases and get in there and help them out and give any information you can to help those guys who train and eating while they're overseas, taking care of us, nothing beats that.
Yeah, you genuinely enjoy it, and it's not a chore for you. You know, I had to wrestle Mike away from chatting with some folks up here in Vegas, and that was a lot of fun. What does it mean to you to get to spend some time with those guys overseas? And I saw you and Jay, how gracious you guys are, getting the opportunity to kind of chat it up. What are some of the questions they ask over? I mean, obviously, how the hell do they make a meal out of some of the, what they got to, what do they ask, and how do you kind of steer them in the right direction with the base training and all that?
You know, it's interesting because I think it's only the Marines that don't have the right nutrients out there. The one thing that I noticed is some of the bases, and we were in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, so those bases had the food, and we just teach them how to get a couple meals when you're there and pack something up for later. But I'll tell you a story. When I went over to Iraq, and it was at the end. It was like 2011, 2012. So it was pretty safe at that point, and we got to go over there. And it was me, one other male gladiator, and two female gladiators, and we got to go over there and just kick ass and play gladiator games against the military.
Oh, it's fun. That's
so
badass.
Fun. Yeah, it was cool until we got they go, hey, so. We think it's safe for you guys to jump on some Blackhawks, and we'll take you over to some Marine bases. Because they never go – I never even thought about this, but they never take you to Marine bases because it's too close to what's going on.
Right, it's forward.
And they go, no, it's safe. We're good. We're going to take you over there. And we got to go over there and hit some bases. And some bases had only like 140 guys down to 50 guys on each base. Now, that was – heightened even more because those are the guys that are actually you get to really see how they're living and not eating anything tasty. Everything's that packaged food.
Yeah,
the restrooms, they make the restrooms out of the bags and stuff. It's like you're really in it, and you're like, dude, you give up so much for to protect us and everything. And I don't care what your politics are, but you gotta support.
Oh, my God.
The military.
The sacrifice is ridiculous. I mean, imagine, I couldn't imagine eating an MRE every day. Now, you're all over, the world giving people advice. And this is something, for a lot of people that tune into the podcast, and I want to thank everyone here in the K-Var studio, and I want to thank everybody on the John Bartolo show tuning in. You're always advising folks. What advice do you give to the Leos and the cruisers all day? I know I've suggested in the past the Icon meals or the package stuff to make life a little bit easier. What are some suggestions you would give to the guys that are serving over here, as law enforcement? How do they prepare their meals for the day? What suggestions would you give them?
I think I would go with what you were saying. First of all, just so they know, everybody that does military and all first responders get a huge discount at Icon. So just FYI on that one. And then I'll tell you how to even save more money for you guys. I love you, Icon, but I want these guys to save money. Order the meats by a pound. Instead of getting your tailored meal, I'd order the meats by the pound, and that way you can just weigh it out when you get the food, prep it for...
And that's with Icon, right?
That's with Icon. by far that I've found is the best. But do it that way, and you get a discount for you first responders and military. Do it that way and prep the food, and that's for anybody that's you working Joes. You know, you got to be prepping the food and got to take it with you.
It's not easy in the cruiser all day, Mike. It's not easy doing that stuff.
Come on,
you know. Those guys, you know, and it's funny, you know, a lot of them have families, and I like to say, and I say this all the time with all due respect, one person's excuse is another person's motivation. So you got to get super motivated and pumped to prep out the meals, to get organized, to have your day follow a schedule, because what I find is I go off the rails because I'm a disaster. You know, like Jay said, you know, he said there's no hope for me because I got to have my cereal, I got to have my donuts. I'm a mess. There's no fixing me, right? I'm gone.
Or you got to actually a good metabolism because you're in good shape.
I'm in okay shape.
Okay, for our world, you're in okay shape, but for the average Joe, you're in great shape.
I appreciate that.
So you're like the Heath Evans.
Yeah. I might be worse than Heath if that's saying anything. Now,
I think he called you sexy, John.
Seriously, Rory. Now, you have 1,000 accolades. We could sit here all day and talk about the covers and about everything.
Let's not.
But let's be honest. You know, what to you is the shining moment? You know, is it you know? Do you look back and do you say? Because I have to talk about it. Your legacy and the storied career you have in fitness, and everybody wants to get 5 minutes with you just to pick your brain. What is it? And don't be humble for a second. Don't be humble. What is it?
I would have to say it was just the unrelentless commitment to consistency and being the one guy that I didn't want to do anything to jeopardize all the work I did and not be able to keep it. So it was that just day in and day out, getting up and putting in the work. It didn't matter winning the universe or powerlifting meets or judo or anything like that. It really is just that willingness never to give up. The whole idea that you can't beat the guy that never gives up. And I first got on stage in 1983, and I know that people go like some guys are out there that are still my range or age, but I was on stage in '83, and there was nobody that's still out there on stage in the '80s.
Does Tom Brady ever cross your mind in terms of like his longevity in his sport and what he's done and what you're doing? Do you ever draw a parallel to that? Because I do. I look at it and I'm like, this. I look at you honestly when I'm from afar. I look at you and I'm like, this motherfucker. If he's doing it at this age, at this stage of the game, and I look at Tom and you know how long he's done it being a Pats fan, and Heath and I were talking about this a little bit yesterday. Does it ever cross your mind the longevity? I mean, it's amazing.
I think that's what's gonna
tell the story.
Yeah, on me on that aspect, it was I was with Lee Haney last weekend, and I was trying to think, and Lee's one of the great ones. But Lee's, you know. Not just a bodybuilder, but just a person. He's a bright guy. He understands it and stuff. And I'm sitting there thinking, and I'm like, he was on stage with me. He was on stage 4 years before me.
It's crazy.
But at this stage, I'm still crushing the 20-year-olds, and I'm still lifting. And I've lifted all my career heavy, and I still got the physique that I'm on stage next weekend guest posing, and I was in Abu Dhabi guest posing. So I'm like, I love that aspect that it's the longevity of it.
That's where I think it's going for you. Like, you know, you I know you do the Titan and all that, and then there's the 4 times, you know. But I look at you and I say the legacy is going to be how long, you know. And you have to. I know it's hard to reflect on that. Like, you know, when people start asking Brady about, you know, reflecting on the career, but it's the body of work now that it's really taken the, you know, everybody, and they're just like.
I think I like it because it's not. How would you say this in a humble way?
Yeah,
there's legends in the industry, and there's legends because they were in the '80s and they were in the magazines. And I'm one of those guys that was in the magazines. And think of this: 1987. What year were you born?
81.
Okay, so I've been in the magazines since '87, which means that you're kind of mostly at that time you're at the pinnacle of your career. You're on the covers. They got cover stories, and I'm still on it today not because I'm a legend, but because of my body and face.
Yeah, you stayed in the game.
So it's still in the game and still doing it. And so that's the one thing I guess I'm most proud of, is that my goal was all that work I put in, I get to keep it for a lifetime. But I'm still doing.
You know, I hope, I guess what I'm getting at is, I've said this to people before, you know, that are 40, 45, and I know Tom does it. You know, look at Mike. If he can do it, can anybody do it?
They can, but I think what the biggest problem is, and I hear this all the time, you got to look at it in a whole career. Tom Brady has taken care of himself since the start. He was taking care of himself. He was taking care of himself in the offseason. And I think most people look at me and go, all right, so what'd you do the last couple of years? And it's like, you don't want to break their feelings or heart and stuff and go, listen, the reason I'm still here today is because of the basic stuff I did as a teenager and in my 20s.
The foundation.
Yeah, that foundation work that set me up to win. And then I never went away from the foundation work, and I never tried to get clever, and I never tried to get, you know, bouncing around the gym or trying this, that, and the other thing. I stayed consistent to where my body functions off of carbohydrates. I feed the body protein for the muscle, and I take in a little bit of healthy fat, but that's about it. I'm not this, what's the new fad? What's this thing? I'll do that kind of stuff to test it, to see what science is doing, and I believe in you should always try to test everything in the sense of training and nutrition. But I always go back to the foundation work, and I also believe that it's the plan, because I think you know this. We're around alphas, and we're around the most elite people in the world. And sometimes there's no switch. Sometimes it's 100% all the time, and they're smashing their heads against the wall. And I think I learned early on, it's 100% on the plan that you're on at that time. And it can't be at 100% all the time, because you just mentally and physically will blow yourself out. And so I always step back 70%, 80%, 90% on 100, and then drop back again and start over again. And I don't see that with a lot of people. I either see them going 100% or 0.
Right. No, I like that. And you know, I think all life is made up of seasons, and we try those seasons out. And in diets, I think people need to understand, you know, a diet can serve a season, you know, but like you said, it's the consistency that's going to hold true. And if you're waiting around for things to happen, you're too late.
And there's no technically off season, but you got to let the body rest, and you got to let your body recover. And that means that you got to back down the training, because everybody thinks it's about going in the gym and going at 100%. The gym is about doing the least amount of work possible. The least amount of work possible, but still get better. That's the concept of the gym.
I love that right there, because I'm disgusting. And I go in there and I try to do the least amount humanly possible. And I was with Heath yesterday, and I thought I was doing.
Well, you're downhill.
Sorry,
right
Heath.
from there.
Yeah,
right there. You're just downhill.
You know, we were in there, and he's like, "Today's just going to be a quick one," and I'm like, "Perfect," but I didn't know how quick it was really going to be.
It was pretty quick, right?
Yeah,
I got 5 minutes.
I think I had 1 bead of sweat. Now I've been to Metroflex. I've been everywhere. I've trained all over. No offense, Heath.
None taken. Great thing about Heath is, which I love, and I know
it's easy.
I bust his balls 24/7. But the great thing about Heath is that you're talking about an elite athlete that, beyond, I mean, pinnacle of
top of the table, 1%.
And you make it to pro football, great, but you know, average is 2 to 3 years. He played 10 years. But the number one thing I think about Heath is that he consistently ate high, because he and I, as high school kids, were so similar. Mentality, the way we ate, and he never went away from that. Now, I don't have that luxury because I'm on stage all the time, so I have to be dieting all the time. But what he's done is been able to keep his metabolism working at a high level.
Right.
Where most people, you and I know, they'll do the bodybuilding for years, and they've destroyed their metabolism by carb loading and going off carbs and back and forth, and so they're carb sensitive now. And it's almost like you create a self-diabetic. And so their metabolism shut down, and so when they stop, and you and I have seen this, we're talking about young guys. I'm done from bodybuilding, 35 years old, and within a year, they are emaciated.
They
and
go to
10
shit.
years old, 10 years older than they are. So the one thing about Heath is that he's been able to keep that nutrition, in a sense, high calories, which is keeping him healthy. but he trains terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We love you, Heath.
Block him from
But
Facebook and
I want to
Instagram.
get into something that's going to get the IG folks pumped up, and I want to get into something that's been a passion project of yours and Heath's, and I think this is going to be kind of an interesting topic to talk about. You've been a crusader going after the fake weight people.
I don't think we make jokes about it. We don't crusade after it.
There's a crusade out there.
There's okay.
I wanna, but I wanna educate people for a second.
All right.
Without getting, we're not gonna name names. There's not gonna be a naming of names.
We're not gonna name nobody. Castleberry.
We're not gonna name names. But explain to people, because I had explained to me, Branch explained it to me once, and folks have explained it to me. Fake weights are a thing, and they were a thing born out of photo shoots and video shoots, right? I mean, they were a thing.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be kept in context. Like if you had just won a contest, you might do a photo shoot backstage or something, and there were fake weights.
Mm-hmm.
It was a thing. At what point did people get so selfish, Brad Castleberry, to start to implement using these ridiculous dumbbells, putting 800 pounds on a bench? Because I had a 500-pound bench at one point, and I was proud of that. Okay. Super proud. I got video documentation of it in competition.
It is plastered.
You know, at what point did it become a bullshit thing people started to pull and think it's okay? Where was the tipping point? Was it IG? Was it to make a cool video, Mike? What was it?
I think the concept, and this has to go not just with fake weights, but personalities. You know,
point.
The guy that gets on there every morning goes, and I'll be clear about who I am. And I'm also too old to fib it, and I've been in the magazines, and everybody's seen me since '87. The concept of going get up and putting on a facade verbally through the day, going, hey, I'm this guy, and I'm a positive guy, and I change people's lives, and he talks about it, and he maybe even get on stage, and they use profanity and they yell it out there. This is what you need to do, you lazy butts, and this is what I'm doing, and you need to step up. That whole concept of creating this persona of this thing, and fake weights is one of those persona kind of things, is social media, the reach of it, and the controversy behind it. People love that stuff. And if they're going to get followers and tagged and fame, they'll do it. They'll do it.
You know, it's been something that's kind of been a little bit of a albatross hanging over the fitness industry. You see these guys come out and they make these videos, and it really does do a disservice to guys like you and to folks in the powerlifting community. I know the strength cartels made a huge, to do about it, and it's.
I gotta stop you because I know they did, and I gotta tell you, for me, I was a believer. Believe it or not. I was a believer in that kid and other guys like that. And I was a supporter of them and just thought they were getting a bad rap, and actually volunteered, like, hey, come train with us, come do this with us.
Oh, horse shit, Mike.
Straight up, brother. On. You can ask Heath. And I straight up was a believer. And
at what point were you like, bullshit?
When he dusted me off, and Heath called it when he big-timed me.
He big time.
He big time me.
I
go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little combine, him versus Heath, and then he'll do a lift off against me. And said let's blast this and let's rock and roll. And he goes, yeah, great, yeah. Call my manager. Talk to him.
Oh God.
And I was,
oh God.
I was okay. All right, I'm done. And then we gave a date and never showed. So, but I. Just not even just talking about him. I just say anybody and everybody on social media. Don't start putting on a facade. Don't put this persona that you're somebody that you're not. Because sooner or later you're going to be at expos. Sooner or later,
there's no way to hide.
Yeah, and it's. I would even go further into Photoshop and what you look like and your tiny little waist and your huge shoulders and all that. Sooner or later, you're going to be at expos with people, and they're going to look at you and go, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, I take it personally because when you have guys out there that are, like Brian Shaw, yourself, that are, huge guys around the industry, you just can't fake it. I mean, there's just no way to hide. And, the guys that were doing the fake weight game. I wanted to bring it up and talk to you about it because I think, it creates a false narrative, and I think that you should just be true to who you are. I love when I love myself. This is going to sound dumb. When I can do 150-pound dumbbells and when I can do 85-pound dumbbells. I mean, it goes in waves. If you're dieting right and you're clicking, and things are going to be clicking, and you have those good days. And, I get the place of them because I guess the story goes, wasn't there a really famous bodybuilder? He was doing a photo shoot and he tear his quad or something.
I think there was Fuchs.
Yeah.
And that's just so people understand this. When you do a photo shoot and you are lean, there's a difference between being ripped and being dry. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
And
yeah.
so,
Explain. Teach.
So when you're dry, that means the ligaments don't have a lot of fluid in it, and this is where a lot of guys,
you gotta charge
especially, do I?
Yeah, you're running low.
Oh, running low. Especially if you're doing extra stuff, you're going to get very dry. And this is where people get injured and get owies and stuff like that. And so that's the one thing I would, I ain't going to put that right there for you guys. I'm good. We'll let the phone die. Hi, we're just doing a live feed at the same time.
Yeah, we're live.
The one thing I would do is understand that these guys had to do that because you're at a photo shoot, and they're just putting on weights that they could do it in the off season. But that's why they do it, just to protect the body. And I don't think most people know that there's a difference between being ripped and being dry. So dry is dangerous to lift heavy, and that's why you see most bodybuilders lift very light, closer to the show.
Yeah, and it's. I wanted to kind of take it full circle because a lot of people ask, why were fake weights even made? What was going on? And I asked the question. I asked Branch one time, and I got an explanation. I asked Jay one time. I got an explanation, and they were designed for photo shoots, and there were people that received some injury and some things that had gone on because closer
career-ending injuries.
Yeah, no, I know. I heard a couple of crazy stories. They told me about photo shoots, and there was a place for them. But now with the Instagram and everything else, there's been people that have, become like almost
having weights, fake weights in the house.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Crazy.
We don't want to do that.
No, don't do that.
Yeah, just the whole point of the story, I hope, is try not to be fake on social media because it's sooner or later, if your career takes off, which I hope your career takes off, if you've got that much passion for it, sooner or later you're going to be in front of people. And I think the one thing that I like about that is is when people meet me in person, they go, "Oh shit, you're bigger than I thought."
Yeah.
I thought you were a little model.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, you're definitely one of the larger guys. I can vouch for that. I mean, there's no question. People meet me and they say the same thing because I'm about 240 pounds, so a lot of times 230 pounds. They'll be like, "Oh, you're a lot bigger." I didn't realize. And I'm like, yeah, hey, I'm standing next to bigger guys. I'm next to giants. So it's a lot of fun. But yeah, shows are a great equalizer, and that's why I love this medium of YouTube and of audio because you have to talk the talk, and a lot of times Instagram is just a photo and just a snapshot. And I want to ask you, what do you love and hate about social media?
Well, good point. And I think it's similar to what you said, is that anybody has a point of view on health and fitness, and they're a guru. So it's given and there's two things. One thing that I believe in is for the old school guys, don't be bitter that you don't have a big following.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is you need to adapt with the times. Okay, that's first of all just to the old school guys that actually, and I know this is for a lot of them, because they have the titles or past titles, they feel they're entitled to having a big following relative to the kid that's in Minnesota that's 21 years old, that has abs, that has 2 million followers because he has a good personality. I would say that's times that we're in, so you got to adapt to that and don't be mad about it. It's just what it is. And so I think one great thing is that anybody from anywhere in the world can be a success. See, when I grew up, I needed the magazines. And so I was lucky enough to get the covers of the magazines in the 80s and 90s and 2000s. And so that got me famous,
right,
in a sense, and then I got TV shows. And that, again, is basically the old school social media. But today you don't need that. You just need to sign up for an account. And if you got a great personality and you got some kind of niche that you can market in a sense, and the people adapt to it or like it, they will be pulled to you. But here's the thing I dislike is that same person might come up with a nutrition thing and go, listen, I do 0 carbs and 200 grams of fat and 100 grams of protein, and this is why my body's this way. And then you and I can sit there and go, well, your body's that way because you're 21 years old and you work out all day.
Right.
Your body's not like that in 5 years. So let's not put out that information that is so ballistically wrong. So that's the only downfall that I see is the amount of, and I see it with everybody because I'll get questions and I'm like, holy sheesh, why would you do that? Carbohydrates is longevity. So why would you run away from that? Well, because this or that.
The guru.
Yeah, this guru said that. Why is he a guru? He's a legend. I love this now.
He's
a legend.
He competed once.
He's a legend. He's got 1 million followers. He's a legend from what? It's that weird old school mentality you only get in the Hall of Fame, not just because you made it as a pro, but you were great for a long period of time. And that's thrown out nowadays.
Do you like it better now, or did you like it better when you were writing and doing the magazines and all that?
I love my career now more.
Okay.
It's regardless of winning the universe or being on TV shows. And when Gladiators came back and I was on there again, that was the #1 TV show that year.
Yeah. No. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'm more known now because of social media. So I love that aspect of it and what it's been able to do to me.
Do you think the old school guys should adapt now, or are they too late?
No, I think they can all adapt. And I think some people that CT has proven that. CT Fletcher has proven that. It's crazy to think that Jay is kind of old school.
Right.
Because you got to go off of Instagram more than you do Facebook. Instagram is the one thing that kind of changed social media. Facebook was great, but that was a connection. It wasn't a sales tool to where it is now. But Instagram is so ginormous.
And everybody's gravitating now towards YouTube more. And I like that, and towards the podcasting and the audio like you're doing. You're doing a great podcast show. And I think that's a good thing because I have a theory. I think Facebook fucked up Facebook. I think they're going to fuck up Instagram, and they're already doing it because Jay's already even said it live on air, and he said, I just don't want to bet my business on how much someone's willing to swipe down. I just don't want to do that, and that's what you're betting your business on. And they screw with the algorithm, and they screw with all that stuff. I'd rather bet on a search bar and start to push people to search for me or to shoot,
I think that's a continuous build because it's not I don't have collectively 4 million followers. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram has 4 million followers. Mike O'Hearn's accounts may be borrowing those for the moment, but they're not really my followers. They shut my account down. I don't have those guys. So I think his is a great point, and that's why it's the continuous connection to your crew. Like I have the Titan crew, which is a great support crew that actually do like my workouts or support the clothing or food. And that's a continuous of getting emails delivered to you. And that's your bread and butter, that email list.
Yeah, the email lists are huge. And for all you guys out there that are building, trying to build social media, you've done it well, and you've done everything so well for so long over a period of time, every platform, every medium. And you do such a good job weaving everything together. And I've watched a lot of your stuff and literally stole ideas. Are the,
Allowed.
Yeah, I'm totally ripping ideas off all the time. And looking at what you do, what advice do you give to the young guys out there? Because there's definitely a lot of dudes out there starting accounts, whether it's fitness or whatever it is, modeling. Let's just call it modeling for what it is.
Can you do it with a high-pitched voice, though, if you do it, call it modeling?
And trying to do it that way. With my Boston accent, it's tough. Fuck. It's modeling. So you got people starting accounts and trying to develop a persona. What advice do you give them getting started?
The first thing is be authentic to who you are. That's 100%. It's all right because it was funny. You took ideas from me. I took ideas from other people on promotion ideas or great questions or great insight. but never try to be somebody else. Don't put up something again that's not really who you are. You're interesting enough, or should be interesting enough, because I do see some people don't get a lot of following because they stay basic and stay neutral on what they think society wants. Like I thought my career was, Mr. Universe, powerlifting, martial arts, American Gladiators. I thought that's what it was. Has nothing to do with that. My career and my social media account took off when I interacted and showed my love for my dogs.
I love the dogs.
So that's what it was. It wasn't how strong I am or anything like that. You get obviously I get at expos, hey dude, you're really strong, but they're not going to be loyal fans compared to the guy who goes, dude, I love the interaction with your dog. I saw what you did and how much you care and take actual time for him, and I did that. Those guys are loyal fans. Those guys are going to stay with me.
And I'll be honest with you, and I know that this is an emotional one. I was legitimately sad and emotional when we lost one. And I was like, I saw that post and I'm being serious, guys. I'm being 100% serious. I'm trying not to look at you. Recently, we lost a dog not too long ago, and I was heartbroken. And that was because of social media and your relationship. And it was so genuine. And you put the videos up and the dog's eating the pizza. And I was fucking devastated. I felt like I lost one of my kids.
That, I guess, is the connection. You know, when everybody's trying to sell?
Oh, that wasn't a sell.
No.
It was legitimate.
That's connecting. And that is one of the biggest. If I could tell somebody one thing, stop selling and try to connect. And if there's something that you will connect on and your fans will connect with, that's loyalty, and they'll listen to you, and you'll blossom. And if all you're doing is selling and selling and selling,
and I know towards the end that one particular dog couldn't travel, and it was just so devastating to me. I felt like I didn't say goodbye the proper way. And I'm being so serious, it's not even funny, because you formed that connection with everybody, and everybody followed along, and it just, it was so sad. And I think you're absolutely right. You have to be neutral. You have to be interesting. And I think The Rock set the formula, really. And you just follow the formula. And the formula is, just love for everybody and, let people do them. And Jay had a great line. He said, you just have to, you don't pay attention to the BS and just, he goes, people call me with their problems, I hang the phone up. And I asked him in here, I said, is that real? Like, do you really, because you're a shitty friend if you do that. And he goes, nah, but it's just, you have to, and I told you a story in the car when I was coming out here. Jay's like, whatever you need, man, I got you. But I can't have people on the property anymore. Like he's just, that's Jay. But he's serious. You just have to block out a lot of the crap, and you have to do your thing and do you. And if someone else enjoys whatever they're into, I don't care. They could be swingers for all I know. It's like, you're like, hey, do you, man? As long as you're happy, I'm happy for you.
I think that's a huge thing. Two things. One is my journey with my dog, and then
the authenticity.
Passing. Yeah. I think people understood it wasn't just me and a dog. It was that that dog was there prior when my mom and dad were both alive, because I think the majority of society knew that I was doing a cover of Muscle and Fitness. They brought in two puppies, and at the end of the shoot, they're like, we're taking them back to the pound, and I said, nah, I'm taking them home. And they were with me from 1999, and then I just lost Teddy, who was the second last year. So I lost my mom during that time. I lost my dad during that time. Ups and downs.
I didn't want you to say
peaks and valleys, and so people knew all that. So that was the biggest thing.
I didn't want you to say teddy bear.
Yeah, I didn't want to say teddy bear. But here's the thing, like you said, when you at an expo and somebody comes up and looks in your eye and says, and these are you know this at expos, you get these huge guys, and I'm not even big, and big monsters tattooed, look like they want to rip your head off. And I had this one guy come up to me and he goes, I don't want a picture. I just want to tell you that I was crying when Teddy passed.
Oh, I was all fucked
Yeah.
up.
So
I
that's a
was.
true connection.
Mona's laughing, but I was all fucked up.
Mona's tough. But if you can make a connection on Instagram, it changes Instagram for you as a person compared to you trying to go, I need 2 million followers. I need to sell. I need to do that.
Yeah, we get killed in the firearms business because the algorithm and politics. And I know, recently the owner of Twitter came on and he's trying to fix it. He's trying to make it equal. He's trying to make it, authentic. But the reality is certain things get suppressed and sequestered, and that's a political thing. And
That's a real thing.
it's a real thing.
I don't know if that was a conspiracy before that.
No,
But
it's a real thing. It's 100% a real thing. It happens, and that's a part of life. And I think the way to beat the algorithm is to honestly be authentic, be you, be 100, and let that shine through. And I can't think of any more defining moment of anybody I followed than your relationship with Teddy.
Thank you.
Seriously,
That
I
means
mean,
a
I
lot to me.
genuinely mean that. That showed. And it made me want to go buy Domino's too.
Understand.
There was the Domino's and there was the IHOP pancakes. And Heath, if you're out there, I know you did too.
He's
on the
probably
quiet
there right now.
Yeah, he was
eating donuts,
crying in the
pink
shower.
box.
Crying in the shower. But there's so much, and I know we'll be pressed for time with this podcast
we're
a little
okay.
bit. But I do want to get into another thing that's a big passion play for you, and that's like we talked about the overseas stuff. But you are so gracious with your time and taking the time with folks, and I saw it today, and I want to talk about that for a second. Do you ever get sick of people?
No, not at
Be honest.
Expos.
I do.
No, I don't. Not at expos. We were at the Olympia last week, and we had a 4-hour line, and if you're going to wait 5 minutes for me, 10 minutes for me, freak an hour for me, 4 hours for me, just to say hello and I'm there. I'm there for you. I'm with you, and I want to hear what you have to say. And I don't get sick. And I know that I was with somebody last week in Abu Dhabi, and they're like, I'm kind of getting burned out. Man, dude, I freaking love it.
What's the secret? CBD oil, because I gotta smother myself. Rory, I gotta smother myself in CBD oil just to make it through the day.
I get mentally ready for it, and I know that it is not about me at that point, but it's about the stories. And what I love is this: I don't wake up in the morning. I'm not ever going to be this guy that gets up and goes, I want to motivate the world. That's what I'm
Right.
here for. That's
the
me.
guru's
I'm the
guru.
great guy, and I want to motivate the world and teach you about love and paradise. And it's not me. I get up. I'm selfish in this way that I love to work out, and I love to stay on a plan and nutrition. And I love to get to the gym at 4 o'clock, where I don't let the music come on at Gold's Gym until 6:30 when I'm done. And I love to train, and I love the banter, and I love the
BSing.
the BSing and the sparring with your training partners and trying to out-rep. I love that. And that's what I get up for, and that's why I do this. And if I stay consistent with that, here's the great thing that it does. I'm authentic to what I love and the passion I have for health and fitness, which translates to all my businesses. Now that alone motivates people.
Are you ever listening to a story from someone and you just find yourself mindlessly nodding, zoning out?
Nah, not really. I do.
Has the story
tune
ever
out.
been so crazy that you had to just mindlessly nod?
I'm surprised on how people train. I will say that. It's just mind blowing. Like, who told you this, and why would you believe that? I do this. There is a difference between somebody listening and somebody that just wants to be heard.
Okay, I know what you're saying.
So when I'm talking to somebody, I'm always going to be eye contact, and I'm sitting there, and when they tell me, like, I'm training each body part 3 times a week, how the freak are you doing that? Do you not work? Does your girl support you? What the heck is, I eat 1,000 calories, train 3 times a week, and sleep 2 hours a day. I'm like, okay, well, all right. And then I try to explain, well, maybe you should back down a little bit. 2 times a week is probably even more than enough. And as soon as they start, like, looking around,
Right.
Yeah, but it's like, all right, I'm done.
I definitely want to ask you about Golds because you've been in there so many years. Through the years, I want to get into some of the crazies that go in there, but I want to talk about, like, do you miss some of the old faces in there? Because it used to be popping in there.
Dude, there was nothing better than Golds in the early and mid 90s. Nothing.
Who were some of the cool faces through there that people may not know? Because I could tell you cool stories, but,
I've forgotten more legends, and it's funny because I've been there since so long ago. I was there. Lee was still Lou Ferrigno was still a monster back when he and I trained together. My first training partner was Tom Plaz.
Lou's at every frickin' SHOT Show every year too.
Yeah, he loves that.
It's like a sheriff.
He
now.
loves that, right? Honorary sheriff.
Yeah.
But there was just some no-name champions that were fun and characters at Gold's Gym Venice. But man, there was nothing better. And me coming in as a 19 and 20-year-old kid and coming from a majority of a powerlifting background and training at Gold's with those guys and jumping right in the mix with, Tom Blaz being my training partner or training with Lee or all these guys, Flex, Chris Cormier, all those guys back then.
What movie stars?
Who was Michael J. Fox was a great one. Just a kind person. Al Bundy.
Oh, yeah.
Al Bundy was there.
He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. You know that, right?
See, I think because you're behind the curtain and you know a lot of these guys, you'll be surprised on how many actors can roll.
Oh, yeah.
I know. Or can chop. It's like, I know that people think that, like, what's Iron Man's name?
Oh, Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr. He works with some kung fu and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you can pull up like the celebrity black belts. You'd be very freaking surprised who has legit black belts.
Yeah, just that extreme martial arts and stuff. Yeah. It's cool. It's cool, and I love that stuff. So
Michael J.
Cool
who else?
There's so many I forgot because I was at an era too where I was traveling from L.A. to New York because I took over for Fabio on the romance covers. Mm-hmm. So I was traveling over there, and I've met a lot of stars over there, and not everybody's great.
Is there good bread in the covers, in the romance covers?
Yeah. That and TV, man, it's great money.
Great money.
It's great money.
Could I do a romance cover?
I think you could.
Could Heath?
I think it would be you and Heath, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, on a horse, a little pony, maybe.
A donkey, a burro.
Heath and back.
Yeah. You hear that, Rory? That's next.
Make it happen. I need that picture right up on the wall.
Yeah. We can call me El Burro.
But the 90s were the best. 90s were the best.
The 90s. So in the I'm a big 80s guy,
okay.
but the 90s were the best. I look back and I see the old Golds. Do you hate it now?
No, I understand why people don't like it right now. I may be treated a little different than most because I'm like the liaison for the
brand.
Yeah,
but you're a bias. You like the 90s. You used to admit you like the 90s. The 90s were hot shit.
But they treat me well, and then I'm also there at a time from 4 to 6:30 that I don't see a lot of the craziness.
Now I envision because I know you love the movies. You're a movie nut, and you've acted quite a bit. But
Get ready. Wait a minute.
What?
Plug. Coming out Halloween, the Manson brothers. So what are we? Not even a month away from this. You will see me in the most psycho. Well, I don't start out as a psycho, but you'll love this character. Radiant Bobby I play.
Okay.
Radiant Bobby. And then we go off and film again here in November. But go back to the movies.
I want to talk about the movies because you've had a couple of really close calls too.
Yeah, behind the scenes stuff.
I love the behind the scenes stuff. So what are some of the close calls that you can talk about?
I can talk about most of them. Brandon Roth got Superman prior to
and he sucked.
So I got down to the top 5 guys for that, and the statement to me was, "You're a great Superman. You're the best Superman. But we're going to go with a guy that does a great Clark Kent." And I'm like,
"You motherfuckers!"
Yeah, but I was also thinking, like, but it is Superman. And then the movie came out and it bombed, and I'm like,
"Yeah, it sucked."
All right. Scorpion King came down to the top 2. We are right now in the hunt for Hercules, the TV series that will be on Netflix.
Is TV still good bread too?
I think they would be misconfused if you say good. It's silly.
Mm.
It's what they call Hollywood money. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. If you had to design a role, like
Yes.
what's your dream role?
This Hercules, the
one?
Hercules that's coming out now, because it's
Is it dark?
yeah, he's pretty.
Yeah, I like it. I like
He's
it.
got a
I like
switch.
it.
He's got a switch.
I like the gritty ones. Because okay, this is going to sound bad, but it's going to sound good.
Go.
I'm a huge Baywatch fan, and I want to reboot of
All right,
Baywatch.
I'm outta here. Mona,
no,
we gotta go.
No,
We're
I want
done.
to talk about it, and you can tell me to
All
go
right.
fuck myself,
All
but
right.
I want to talk about it.
Go.
I want to. I serious, Rory. Don't you want to see a reboot of Baywatch?
This explains so much.
Secretly, I've seen every episode of Baywatch.
That's what I'm saying.
Both of you.
Mona, come on. Don't you want to see a reboot? I want to see a reboot. I want it bad. Okay.
Just a boot.
Why? Okay, because it was mindless fun. It was mindless fun. And I think that's what The Rock tried to convey in the reboot in the movie. And it bombed. Okay, it bombed. The Rock has one good one and he has one bomb. That's his MO. You know, he's the king of Hollywood, but he has a bomb.
Okay.
I want to see a reboot, and I think you'd make a fucking savage Mitch. I think you'd crush it.
Kill Hasselhoff.
I think you'd fucking bury Hasselhoff, and you'd be savage at it. And I think you'd kill it, man. And that ran for fucking 20 years, Mike.
It did. It ran forever.
It ran forever. And that
That's a good
decrepit
point.
bastard who drove the stupid kit car. I love you. I love Hasselhoff. Don't hassle the Hoff. But, you know, I think you'd fucking murder it in that. And I'm not even being funny.
Thank you.
You would murder it.
I want Hercules though.
Oh, Hercules is
I
badass
think
too.
Hercules, man.
But I mean, I think you'd
I get the
crush
concept
it.
for Baywatch.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you can have hot girls running.
I mean,
slow
what do you want me to
motion.
put you on? 227? But I think you'd murder. You know what I mean? What do you want to be on? Good Times?
Yeah,
I think
wow, you went old school,
Yeah.
baby. I'm loving this.
But you'd kill it in that. And I think it's everybody wants a reboot. That thing was aired everywhere. Think about
Crushed it.
Crushed it. Say what you want. It was mindless fun. There was one they wrestled a
And
freaking alligator.
it was canceled, right?
Yeah.
No, but I mean, like when it first was made, it was canceled
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. It was kicked out.
It was kicked out. He took it to Germany. It killed in Germany, and they brought it back
brought
and
it
made
back.
it happen. It's crazy. Those Hollywood stories or struggles. I think anytime you sit down with these guys that really made it and had to struggle through something and make something, I think that's a cool thing.
And that's my selfish want for you. Okay. That's my
To get
selfish
Baywatch?
Mike O'Hearn want. But
Little red shorts.
yeah.
Little
but
red
you
shorts, little red life preserver.
seriously, and he had spin-offs. He was doing Baywatch Nights. He was doing everything. He was killing it.
Baywatch Down
What
Under.
was he making for that? Do you know? Could you
I
guess?
imagine that was ugly. 'Cause
Murdering
He was because it wasn't just the actor; he was the producer.
Yeah,
So it was his creation. So it was absolutely disgusting. What he probably.
just raked. He just was raking.
So he can get drunk and eat hamburgers anytime he wants. And
Nobody
enjoy it.
cares. Nobody
It's
cared about
awesome.
that.
It's
you know,
awesome.
What outside of the Hercules role, what else would you selfishly have your eye on out there that like you think you'd love to see? Because
Ooh.
reboots are the thing right
Yeah,
now.
I would love to do Highlander. Just
Oh,
'cause
fuck
it's
yeah.
Basically
Ooh,
me.
you hit it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That would give me
Highlander.
chills. I think you'd crush it at that too. That's a good call.
Yeah, that's what I'd love.
And
Um,
yeah, that's a good call.
That or a Psycho Lethal Weapon.
Like a Lethal Weapon reboot.
Yeah, just crazy.
There's so many,
Yeah,
man.
I love
We could
those
do this-
80s and 90s.
I could do this all day because that would be, oh man, Highlander.
Highlander would be.
Now you know
but-
what's coming out from the 80s.
What do you got, Rory?
Top Gun, the new Top Gun.
Oh, I'm excited because I know
Are
you
you?
said something. Yeah. First off, there's nobody. I can't think of anybody. Maybe you can tell me somebody that hasn't. I look at my career, and it wasn't the shows that I won or anything else I won. Like I said, it was the fact that, and I love this, is that I was in front of the crowd or society or the greatest from 1987 till still today. And during that time, I was strong every single day. It wasn't like one of these guys that goes in and he's strong for some reason for 3 months and then he's not strong or this or that. but I've been in shape and strong for that whole time. So that's over 3 decades. And what I love is Tom Cruise as what he's done physically with himself, not just in movies and this and that, the other thing. You look at him and you go, he's still crushing it, and he's still the lead actor, and he's been acting since, I think it's 83. And we're in 2019.
Keanu, too, has crushed it for a long time.
Yeah, but Tom has been at the peak.
Yeah, that's true.
Tom has never not been at the peak of the industry, where Keanu went down and came up, went down and came up. And I love Keanu. Don't. I mean, John Wick. You know, you killed my dog.
He trained with Taron. He shot. He trained.
And he really.
And he does jujitsu. He's
and
a
he
practitioner.
really trains
With John Jock, I believe.
And I like his. I guess you would say his soul and how he believes life should be lived. I love that.
He's funny. He's really an introvert. Like, I know guys he's shot with and trained with for shooting for that role. He really is very like standoffish. Like that.
Trained at Gold's. He trained at Gold's for years, and he's just a very quiet. He's exactly like you would think he is. He's very kind, very humble, good person.
Like when the shooting video went viral of him, I know the guy he trained with, Taron, was like, you know, you okay with that? You know, Keanu? And he's like, yeah, man, that's fine. Whatever. It's just kind of like very chill. Like, and like that thing had like 25 million views. Like it was, you know, he's like, yeah, whatever, man. You know, and it could have changed the whole game for him because shooting's so taboo in Hollywood. Why do you think that is, Mike?
I'll go back to Tom real quick.
Yeah,
is that Tom doesn't look much different than he did in 1983.
That's definitely true.
It's the growth, Mike, right?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
That's
it's exactly that. And that's impressive, not just because it's a visual thing, but to be a leading man in Hollywood is tough.
Yeah.
But to do it from the early 80s, and he's going to do it into 220, so it's an incredible thing, and that's longevity.
Super longevity.
I can't think of anybody.
But I hated him in Jack Reacher. That was the bad role. That was horrible for him. Jack Reacher should have been you. Just my. In the comic book, he's supposed to be like 6'4", 250. He killed my dreams. You're fired, Tom. But
Tom's out.
Tom's out.
But I'm ready for Top Gun, though. I think it'll be badass.
I think it'll be okay.
I'm gonna rent out a theater and just invite a bunch of friends.
Hey, did you guys like Creed? The new Creed?
I like the Creed series. I think it's good. I was gonna ask you. I don't like the Rambo comeback. Like this last Rambo. I mean, it's a little too much, Mike. What do you think? I think
I'm okay, man. I'm okay with Stallone still doing it.
Yeah,
I'm okay. It was tough to watch. 'Cause Clint Eastwood's I'm a huge fan. It was tough to watch him in that last movie because I don't know if he was playing that old, or if he really is that.
I think he was at the end of the line.
Yeah, so that's
the reality of it. I think he was just there. I don't like the new Rambo. I'll tell you why. I think they should have brought him back as like a drill sergeant type, like where he had to train a group to go in. I think this whole like
Rambo was always by himself.
I know he's a warrior of one.
Just got me.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't take it. Like I can't take him. You know, say the Geritol. It's just too much. It's too much. He's like 70.
Coming for you, Murdoch.
Yeah, Murdoch, coming to get you. But you know, there's a huge taboo on that whole scene in Hollywood right now because you get
about guns and stuff.
Yeah, there's a big taboo.
I wish I knew more. I don't.
I know.
I kind of keep myself removed from a lot of
the political.
Yeah, I'm not a huge political guy. I know if you put up something of, and this is interesting. I was overseas and I asked the military. I said, "Hey, what do you guys think of Trump?" And the first thing they said was, "Well, we can't talk about it." I'm like, "Why is that?"
He's the commander-in-chief.
Right. And I was like, "Oh, okay, all right." And I know if you put something up about him, you know, you get hate, you get love, you get back and forth. I know I loved you. I hate your guts. And it's like, it's a tough one. I stay out of politics because of the fact that it's we got somebody in office, and at this point, shouldn't we support him and try to help him get everything right? And it's just majority society, well, not majority of society, but a portion of society says, no, just get him out. We're wasting all this time trying to get him out instead of just trying to help him.
I'm not super political either, Mike, and because of my relationship.
Did you talk to Heath about this? Because that boy will tear your head off.
Yeah, he gets into it. I'm not super political. People think I am because of my relationships. I've never talked to any of the Trump family members about politics, really. I've in the past I've told Junior, like, if you run, I need to know, let me know. I'd like to know about that stuff, but I'm not super political. I think Trump is who he thought he was. He's a New York City real estate guy. He's a taxi cab driver. I mean, you elected who you wanted, so deal with it. I mean, like you said, just kind of, he is who we thought he was. And I think that society, we elected an entertainer. He's actually one of you, he's closer to you. He's an entertainer, and you do a great job of it, and he does a great job of it. He's entertaining. He's gracious. I think he is great with people in reality, but he is who we thought he was. And, people shouldn't be surprised by that. He's a maverick. He's a rabble rouser. He's going to work the room when he's in the room. That's what he does. And I love him for that. I think he's great at it. I mean, yeah, it's not going to play well in the certain segments of the United States. They're going to kind of look at him like, what the fuck are you doing? But he is what we thought he was, so don't be surprised. I mean, I'll only say this. This is the only political thing I said. Thank God it wasn't her. I mean, she'd kill her own. I mean, that's the one thing. I mean, he ran against the worst candidate, and that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. So, anyways, politics. Next time you got Heath on here,
Get him
Heath.
Get him going, yeah.
So
So,
I got a good political question.
shoot.
Go.
Who's better, Pamela Anderson or Yasmin Bleeth, John?
Oh, Pamela.
Ooh,
Pamela.
I was with Pamela. Flew with her for NAPTY. Sweetheart. Sweetheart.
I want to ask you that. Who,
Wasn't with her. Let me be clear on that. I wasn't with, I mean, I was like, we were on the same private jet and stuff like that.
I want to ask you this. Who have you met through the years that maybe around the industry, whether it's fitness or movies, who have you met that you're like, what a fucking douchebag?
Chevy Chase.
Good call.
I've heard that.
I've heard that too.
Dude, listen to this. I get flown out to New York, and it's my first, I just signed the deal for the romance books. And, this is probably 91, 92, and I get flown out to New York, first class, and I'm calling mom and dad, and it's like, this is great. Limo picks you up. And mostly back then, they really play that whole thing up. So it was a great contract, great money. I go over and Entertainment Tonight's there. They do an interview with me. I do another interview after that. And they go, well, I'm staying at the Plaza. The Plaza during the time that it was still just a hotel. And they're like, all right, so after that, go down, make sure you get seen, go to the Oyster Bar, which was downstairs. It's a great place. Order dinner, put everything on the room, that kind of thing. And I'm like, I am at a high.
Yeah.
This is awesome. I got a couple
First
covers
class.
of magazines out. I'm also on fitness. And so I go downstairs and I'm standing in line, and Chevy Chase walks by me. Big boy. I'm 6'3". He's about 6'4".
Yeah, I was going to say, I know he's tall.
But I'm still a monster. I'm still 270. And he walks by, and I do as a fangirl, I guess you would say. And it comes out instead of just in my mind. I go, Chevy Chase. And that's exactly what I did. I just go, Chevy Chase. No shit.
What a dink.
And he looked right at me and goes, no shit. And I just kind of like, my heart breaks. I'm like, wow, I just said your name. So,
Yeah.
that was a crush. Some of the coolest people, though, Stallone was freaking cool. Arnold's as cool as you think he is. And one great thing about
We're
Arnold,
trying to get Frank Stallone in. We're trying to get Frank in.
you got to
there.
get Frank.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Dave has a relationship with him. I know Dave's lurking around out there. Because he used to
I'll
teach him
tell
archery.
him right now.
Yeah. If you can, we're trying to get Frank in. We text him. Where's Dave? Dave, text him. I know we're trying to get him in. He's a big archer.
Do a story and tag Frankie.
Yeah.
To get him in here.
Frank.
Frank's great.
Yeah. I mean, he loves archery. We'd like to get him in. He's
He's
tight
a
with
freak
Dave.
on
Used to
that.
teach him archery.
Yeah.
That's out there. Yeah, he's out there. So Frank, if you're listening,
Frank Stallone.
yeah, because he would be full of stories.
He's great, too.
Wouldn't he kill it in Vegas?
I think he would because he
needs a
it's
show.
like Frank. He sings so well.
He's a crooner.
You close your eyes, you think it's Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, he's a crooner. He would murder it out here. I don't know what it is. You should book him out here. You should.
He traveled.
You say, Frank, I'll
Kid.
take 20%. That's what you say.
He works a lot. He travels a lot. So
He'd murder it out
Him,
here.
he and I text, and then me and Bruce Buffer text a lot because we're almost on the roads every week.
Right.
So, but they travel.
Yeah, I went to the UFC. The PI is right next door to us, so we go to the PI a couple times. I met one of the announcers now, but Bruce Buffer was at a thing. I just missed him.
Have you had Bruce on?
No, I'd
Bruce
like
is great.
If he's ever in town, he's well. And anybody, I'd love
I'll
to get
tell
him on.
Bruce, and he's always in town.
Dave, we were talking Frank Stallone. I was saying how I used to teach him archery, and we were going to tag him in a post. We want to get Frank on because he'd have great
Frankie.
stories from the 80s and 90s.
Oh, yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, he'd be awesome.
And he's a huge. Never talk to him about boxing
He'll get into it.
During your
Yeah.
workout. Never talk to him because then your workout's done.
Yeah.
He'll go for hours.
No, I know you're pressed for time. We've gone an hour. I want to cut it a little short. Yeah, I want to cut it because Mona's giving me the stink eye. But we're gonna she's giving. We're gonna cut it short. Let
me say a couple things.
Yeah,
just
no, go ahead. I was
those
gonna give the last
diehards.
word, and then we'll pull up your accounts where everyone can find you.
Well, you can find me on anything Mike O'Hearn, Instagram, Facebook, MySpace, LinkedIn. Did you see what I did there?
Showed your age.
Did you see? You saw I went backwards. So yeah, Mike O'Hearn, and you can do that. And I got workout plans and nutrition apps, so you guys can get started. Stop
We
complaining.
got to get those.
You know
We got
what
a
to do.
copy of the vertical diet. I need a copy of your diets. We got to get it.
My girlfriend Stan, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
But a couple things people ask me is what is the key? The key is keeping the body consistently burning and changing the nutrition plan every couple weeks and keeping carbohydrates in there. I wanted to tell them that is one of the biggest things. People think carbs are bad. And it's the one thing that's been able to keep me healthy through my whole career. And the second thing is heavy or light. Silly little thing, right? Heavy or light?
Mm-hmm.
Go as heavy as you possibly can for the rep range you're doing. You're doing 1 rep or you're doing 100 reps. Use a good amount of weight for either. That's just a little bit for you guys that are out there that are diehards, that are trying to figure this out. Some basic information for you. When you go away from the basics, you start to lose it.
What's the website?
Mine?
Yeah.
Anything Mike O'Hearn. MikeO'Hearn.com. Yeah.
All right, everybody, you heard that. Go visit the websites. Mike, I thank you, and I can't thank you enough. I've been chasing you for a while, and I can't thank Mona enough. You guys making the time, and you're always welcome here. You're always welcome to come on.
Next time, VIP.
Yeah,
I need to get some shooting in this next time.
Everything. We're going to do the shooting. We'll do the VIP stuff. I know we're going to take some fun photos, but I appreciate having you, man. Thank you so much.
100%.
So much. You're so gracious, and I appreciate the time. And thank you for the connection with...
Let's get Bruce Buffer, Frank Stallone, and then for everybody, please go follow Heath Evans. He has no friends. Thank you.
That's awful. All right, we're out, Rory. Cut us.